It's official. RFK dropped out of the race. Well, suspending his campaign. RFK is going to explain exactly why, what, when, where, and how, even the possibility of being in the cabinet if Trump were to become president.
Trump had been reaching out to me, and I talked to him a few hours after the assassination attempt, and we had a long conversation by phone. I then had 2 extensive meetings, and there were issues, the broad issues that were most important to me, the ones that brought me into the campaign, which was ending the Ukraine war, ending the censorship, and protecting children's health. We're all reforming our food supply, all the things that we need to do to make our children healthy again. Those are all things that President Trump also wanted to work on.
This to me is very significant, okay? The fact that he said, these are things I'm working on. These are things that Trump says he cares about. Making sure our children are more healthy. Okay, so that shows an alignment on a certain set of issues anyway. Okay, and I think that leads more credibility to his decision. Because then like anybody else, I'm skeptical. Like, why would you want to throw in with a guy who you've been having, some criticism for? Then you got people that are saying, well, I've heard all the negative talk around RFK Jr. And this is not me endorsing him. I got to say that because, unfortunately, in our political climate, you can't even play a video of a candidate without people saying that. I know, it's crazy, right? But anyway, I like the fact that he's going into the exact why. So he says him and Trump had some alignment on issues that he was already fighting for.
We love our children more than we hate each other.
It's a good unifying theme that I think a lot of people could get around. It's how we get there. That's always the devil is in the details. Have you all negotiated over or talked about a cabinet position, another position within a Trump government in exchange for your endorsement?
No, there's been no commitments. But I met with President Trump, with his family, with his closer advisors, and we just made a general commitment that we were going to work together.
What about the states where you're trying to get off of a number of swing state ballots to say, I'm going to stay on a number of state ballots, but in these swing states, I'm going to try to withdraw myself and ask my supporters, or at least you're telling them, think about supporting President Trump. Did you negotiate over which states you would try to withdraw from?
Yeah, I mean, we all knew which states they were. There basically is 10 swing states where my presence in the race would have helped Vice President Harris and would have harmed President Trump. So I'm going to get off the ballot in those states, and then we're going to stay on the ballot in 30 states. And, I'm encouraging people to vote for me in those states. Those are states where the votes, they're either all red or all blue states where their votes are not going to change the outcome of the race. But in the states where I would have been a spoiler, I'm going to get out. So it's about 10 states.
Okay, so there were reports a couple weeks ago citing an official from your camp and also a Democratic official saying that there'd been outreach to the Harris camp as well to possibly discuss you working within the Harris administration in exchange for an endorsement of her. Is that true? And what happened with that?
I reached out to them on the same basis that I reached out to President Trump, and we actually talked to other presidential candidates, including Chase Oliver and the Libertarian Party, about figuring out ways that we could end the polarization and the hatred and the vitriol, start talking about issues. And I was welcome to listen to anything from the Democrats that they were going to do something about the war, about the Ukraine war, about the censorship, about the child health crisis, this epidemic of chronic disease that has now disabled about 60% of our kids. And when my uncle was President Shannon, only 6% of Americans had chronic disease. Today, over 60% do. And it's hard to find a kid today that's not been damaged by it. And it's coming from our food supply, from pollution in our environment, from toxics in our environment, and mainly from corruption in our government that allows that to happen. Ending the Ukraine war ending the censorship and protecting children's health.
Those 3 points, guys: ending the Ukraine war, ending censorship, and protecting the health of children. So, and they go and they have more of a conversation. It's on Fox News, and it's about a 10-minute clip of you guys. I think it's worth checking out. I don't want to play the whole clip here, but I do want to focus on those 3 points and just say, I've heard a lot of people pushing back on RFK in various ways, and I haven't got into the details of everything that he ran on, but I will say those 3 issues make sense. And if his statement, "We love our children more than we hate each other," I don't know who came up with that, but I think that's a great statement. It's a great quote to have. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if you're going in it with that type of mindset, the fact is there were people that are voting for RFK Jr. And if you align on a couple of issues, why not work together? This may hurt or help Trump. I don't know. It's, that remains to be seen. I don't know where it does. I do recognize that what RFK is kind of doing is something like what the Democrats did in 2020, where they were behind the scenes. They had all these folks drop out the race and kind of set Bernie up so that they could prop up Biden, who later ends up being cognitively declined and can't even hold the office. So the plan is, well, we're gonna get off in these 10 swing states where I could hurt Trump. So he is hurting Trump more than him being in a race would take votes away from Trump more so than Kamala. And then the states where it's not really an issue, he's gonna stay on the ballot there. I think it's very strategic. And I think, once again, it's out of the playbook of the Democratic Party. As much as I'm seeing Democrats be upset about it, I mean, your party kind of wrote the book on it, at least as long as I've been covering politics. The way that you strategically, because when I say what's wrong to do, when I say what's wrong to tell this person to drop out or go get this person, all this weirdness that the Democratic Party does in its inter-party play, people say, "Oh, Tim, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not unethical." So what? They put their thumb on the scale for Hillary. They have a preference. It's their party. They can do what they want to do. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, RFK Jr. is not a Democrat. He's an independent. He can do what he wants to do too. And trashing the hell out of the guy, I don't think the problems in America were created by RFK Jr. He hasn't been holding office. I know they're going to paint him as a racist, a misogynist, and a bunch of other stuff. But at the end of the day, yeah, he said some things that I didn't agree with, like the Israel stuff. Ugh. I don't know, like, what's up with that? But it's not like he's part of policy. He's not governing anything. And it looks like what he will be doing if he does work in the cabinet, and if Trump wins, will be related to some things that he's been passionate about the last 30 years. But Kamala couldn't rock with him anyway because she loves censorship. Republicans don't like Black history being taught in schools, but Democrats don't like you to say certain things either. They call it hate speech. Kamala does not want to end the Ukraine war. She wants to keep funding Israel, which is they both want. Both candidates want to do that, I understand. But she also sounded like she was ready to go at it with Iran.
Will ensure America always has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world. So
I don't see how her and RFK Jr. can work it out anyway. Not that I really know what Kamala's policies are anyway. She's got like 2 policies. And then when she's asked about those policies, she can't even articulate really what those are. So I don't even know what she stands for as far as policy. But it's kind of hard to go, health of children. Get that weird guy out of here. Got to get rid of that guy. Talking about the health of children. Who focuses on that? And I don't know, some people, that's how you sound when you're like dumping on a guy who's talking about health. This sounds kind of weird because if you're over 40, remember what people were like when you were in your teens. Remember what your friends look like. Remember the diets Like things have changed, man. I just feel things have changed as far as our health. And I don't mean for better. It's in the food. It's in the water. It's in the air. And I think anybody who's seriously not tied to big pharma, not tied to big corporations, are trying to fix that. I don't care if they watch weird shows on Sundays, if they believe kooky stuff, if they can have a long conversation with Alex Jones. I don't care, man. You know, do you care about them damn kids? Do you care about the health of the United States, of the residents, of the citizens? All right, I want to hear what you got to say, because there are things about people that we don't like all the time. Your doctor may be, may watch all types of weird shows and do all types of weird things, but are they a good doctor? Your lawyer may be all types of weird things. You don't know. It's not up to me. When we start going down the road where we're going to judge a person, everything other than what they bring to the table, you're going to look into their personal life and say, well, I don't like their opinion on this or their opinion on that. I think we get off the rails big time. Now, if you're saying you don't trust RFK, if you don't trust his findings and you don't trust him, now that's saying something, because I know trust goes a long way. It's hard to overlook distrust. It was a smart move for Trump. And if RFK can get his ideas to continue, then he did something. I got to imagine when you take this amount of time out of your life, you got your entire family dumping on you for leaving the Democratic Party, and you've been with them your entire life, and even your very being as being a Kennedy is tied to politics and tied to the Democrats. And people I don't know, man, I just feel like some people are not giving the guy a fair shot at all, because his entire existence is tied to the Democratic Party. Him leaving is a big deal. And people more concerned with what he said about a particular vaccine than they're concerned with that guy just gave up his whole adult his entire life, man. Like his own family was taking pictures with Biden. His family members literally work with Biden's administration. They all turn their back on this guy. He's a member of the family. And you're not even curious, why do you feel so strongly to do that? Yeah, man. I mean, you may disagree with him, but he had his reasons. At least say the guy's not nuts. Admit he had valid reasons. Nobody jumps out the window, jumps out the high-rise window just for nothing. I mean, if you're going to jump, I'm pretty sure he had reasons.